Chris Hughes. I'm a senior in Beta Office Psi. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, and I will be interning with KPMG in their Dallas office in January.
Hi, and I'm Hallie Hunt. I'm the BAP graduate assistant, and we are super excited to have Richard Wells with us from KPMG, which is our featured professional partner for this week. So I'm going to turn it over to him and let him introduce himself, talk a little bit about KPMG and his role as a partner in the firm.
Okay, thanks, Hallie. I'm very excited to be here. Thanks for having me. My name is, again, Richard Wells. I'm an audit partner in KPMG's Atlanta office. Spent almost my entire career with KPMG. I actually started a local firm for a couple of years. I've been at KPMG almost the entire time. All that in our Atlanta office. In terms of KPMG, we're a Big Four firm. We're global. We're in almost every country in the world. I'd say we're known more for financial services. Financial services is our biggest practice in the U.S. And we are also the biggest Big Four firm in terms of our financial services practice in the U.S. Our financial services audit practice. That's what we're known for, but certainly we do everything. We have manufacturing clients, healthcare, nonprofit, every, high tech, everything you could ask for. In terms of my role as partner, again, in financial services, I primarily serve banks around the Southeast. I used to be the partner for Auburn Bank, about a block from campus in Auburn, Alabama. And like I said, all over the Southeast. So my career is in financial services, primarily banking, but also some hedge funds and broker dealers and other things as well. Good to be here.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to talk with us. So I think Chris is going to kick it off with our first question.
Yeah, Mr. Wells, with all the recruiting process going on, what does it typically look like after the first interaction that you have with students after the first Meet the Firms?
Yeah, sure, Chris. Well, certainly this year's different, right? That's at the risk of stating the obvious. This year's different, right? I think more historically, we go to Meet the Firms, meet face to face, and have live events throughout the spring, throughout the fall and spring, bowling, dinners, whatnot. So this year will certainly look different, but hopefully not less fun and certainly no less effective. I think the key after Meet the Firms is just to form those relationships. It's important to form relationships with the professionals at the firm, start building that network. We'll have a number of virtual events. I know you're busy with school and no one can go to all the events, but it's certainly important to just go to all that you can, meet people, form relationships, which is the same thing as well as when we weren't virtual. Just form a connection with different people at the firm, build that relationship, but learn the culture as best you can through building those relationships. And I think it'll help you get to know the firms. It'll also help the firms get to know you.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. That's some great advice. So could you maybe talk about some things that will help a student stand out to you during the recruiting process, and maybe, throw in a few tips of how you could do that virtually when you're not talking to anyone face to face?
Okay, that's a good question. I think for this, virtual certainly makes it a little more challenging, but certainly doable. I think the main things that I look for, or that any interviewer is going to look for, or anyone get to know you, is the same things in any professional field, right? People need to be organized. People, you can demonstrate that through your prior jobs, through your, stories about projects at school, whatever it is. Demonstrate that you're organized, that you keep a written list, you can prioritize your list. And those are key skills for any professional, certainly for an auditor. So I think proving your organizational skills is very important. I think being prepared is important, and that's no different in virtual world than not, right? You can be prepared, have good questions ready to go before your conversation. Be responsive to emails, text, however you're communicating from a different firm. So I think it's the same things in a virtual world. It's being responsible, organized, prepared, and showing. I guess the overall thing, putting all that aside for a second, is being energetic. That's probably harder virtually, but just being energetic, wanting to learn about the firms, and wanting to get your career started goes a long way.
Awesome. And I guess you can highlight maybe on your recruiting experience as well, but what were some things that you looked for in the firms that you're recruiting with that kind of you think should stand out to kids that are going through the process?
Well, I think it's a lot of things, we've already talked about, right? Is finding a good fit, finding some people you identify with at the firm and really building those relationships. None of you will be able to go to every function for every firm. You're not gonna be able to do that, right? There's not enough time. So to the extent you can build relationships early on in the recruiting process with people, and with people at all different levels. I know at KPMG, we really focus on having people all different levels of the firm. I know I'm very involved and I get to meet a lot of students as a partner at the firm. So I encourage you to make those relationships, ask good questions, really learn all you can about the firm. And since you can't go to all the events, having good relationships at the firm, well, you always have somebody, a phone call or email away to ask questions to, and help you go through the process. It's not something, it can be overwhelming, but I think once you form those relationships at the firm, it really helps the process a lot.
Sure. Agreed.
Definitely. So you kind of touched on this a little bit about how recruiting does take, a lot of time, and it can seem a little bit hard to manage when, students have busy schedules. So could you kind of talk about the benefits that you've seen in the long run for students really devoting a lot of that time on the front end to recruiting and building those relationships, how that benefits them in the future once they do start with these firms?
Yeah, I think throughout the course of your career and your lifetime, you're going to build a network. And I think now is a fantastic time for you as a student to start that network. And it's not just the firm you end up going with. You're going, not just your fellow students go to all different firms. You'll stay in touch with them hopefully, but also in the recruiting process, you're going to meet people from different firms. And some of those firms, only one firm is what you're going to go with. So the other firms you won't. But I think keeping that network will serve you well throughout your career. So I think in terms of the process, take advantage of it. You're not going to have a chance in your career to be exposed to all the firms like this again. So.
I guess you're meeting a lot of students are meeting a lot of members of firms. What's a good way to maintain a meaningful relationship through the whole process so the members of these firms can memorize your face, know who you are, and just make you able to stand out in some sort of way?
Well, I think it's that constant communication, right? You're not going to become best friends with every person at firm A or firm B. You're not. But I think having two or three good contacts, people that you get to know, that you can ask questions of. Certainly, we're all different in terms of our communication style. So whether if you're an email person or a text person or a Twitter person or whatever it is, whatever you throw out there to the professionals you get to meet the firms, make sure that's your preferred communication style. You don't want to try to build a relationship and people are trying to email you, but you're a text person and you're not seeing their emails timely. You really want to be timely in turning around communications in a virtual world that we're in, and really just pick out a few people at each firm. And I encourage you to make it different levels too. Manager or a partner, somebody you meet, they're going to have a different perspective than a first or second year staff person at a firm. So really make those relationships to the extent you can, different levels of different firms, and whatever communication works best for you. Again, whatever electronic communication that is, try to monitor that, be responsive to that, and follow up. It's not just the firms coming and reaching out to you as students. You have a great opportunity as a student. We want you too. So take advantage of that. Email, text, you call the people you meet, and they'll always be happy to talk to you. I think it's building that relationship, and it's a lot of it's on the firms, but a lot of it's on the student as well. Never be afraid to reach out to one of the professionals you meet at the firm because they want to get to know you as much as you want to.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about recruiting and give some of our Beta Alpha Psi members some great tips. I think that's all we have today. So thank you again.
Okay, thanks. Best of luck to everybody recruiting and with the semester.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Yeah, thank you.